And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Suzy Woo, channeler of guides, collectives, and galactics. She's also an author, astrologer, psychic medium, and past life regressionist who's had lots of ET contact. Suzy, thanks for joining me and welcome.
I am delighted to share the energies of today with you.
Well, we're excited to have you. And let's start with how this ET contact began for you.
Yes, this was actually a while ago when I was a young child, and it was through the family pet. This is the first time I'm ever sharing this story. I feel that this pet, it was our dog. I felt that he was actually like watching me. And I had a dream of the dog witnessing me as I was on board what appeared to be some kind of, I'm going to call it a ship, but it was a circular space where there were a lot of circular computers set up, and they were reading my energy and I was not speaking. And post that, I'm still receiving, well, I still get lots of contact where I'm witnessing, it almost feels like flares in the sky. And that signals to me I'm going to be knocked out unconscious. And sometimes it impacts other people as well.
Now, you said that you had a dream where your dog was witnessing this, right?
The dreams are with the flares. So this was when I was young, I had this understanding. It felt like a dream, but I actually believed that it was real. The visions that I was shown, and that this dog was watching over me. And not too long ago, maybe 6 years ago, I had seen somebody who had said I had implants and that I was taken aboard a ship, which completely validated what I had seen when I was a young child, and I never shared with anybody until right this moment.
So this dog was your pet?
Yeah, it was our family pet.
Do you feel like the dog was also with you aboard the ship?
Yes, but the dog was not in the dog's body. The dog was actually an extraterrestrial, and it was a light body. It was a very friendly, soft, gentle, wise, light body that was observing.
Moving forward from that experience, did you have further contact regularly?
Where I have that regular contact nowadays is via meditation and via my clients that I serve, where I receive energy about the client and their galactic home. Where is home? And actually that started when I encountered a kunzite crystal. For the first time, I held this kunzite record keeper crystal, and it took me to somewhere that I could only call way out there. And as I followed that energy and meditated with this crystal, it started to present to me these beautiful, it felt like a divine feminine, but it was androgynous. It was a very compassionate, flowy energy that communicated with me that it is not of this space nor of this dimension. Very, very loving and willing to work with me.
What is a kunzite crystal?
It is a translucent pink to lavender, very high vibration crystal that apparently holds galactic energies with what I understand as a higher octave of constellation Pisces. It's a feminine, compassionate, magical essence.
Do you regularly see UFOs?
No, I see the beings. I don't normally see ships.
And you see beings during meditation?
During meditation, but more strongly when I'm working with clients.
In what way?
When they're sitting with me or we do a Zoom session and I connect with their energy, first their guides come through and I give them information about their guides. And then if the person is willing, their galactic guides start to present themselves, and I will describe and provide the information coming from them. And why this is happening so strongly at this time in our timeline is because I'm going to bring some astrology into here. The planet Pluto is now in the constellation of Aquarius, which is extraterrestrial. And the planet that correlates to is Uranus, which is getting ready to move into the sign of Gemini, which is language. And so this is galactic, extraterrestrial, language, which I am very tuned to. And so it comes through very, very frequently. I had done a session with a client several years ago. The first time I had an experience this way, the client is on my table and I suddenly see this being in my mind with a praying mantis head. It scared me to death. And I didn't know exactly what to do, but I'm in the middle of a session, so I can't act surprised. And what the being transmitted energetically is, this is one of our own. We sent her to you. We're trusting you with her. And then I proceeded to do the session. And at the end, I let her know. And she said, "Oh, yeah, I know." So for all of the times that I feel apprehensive and I start hemming and hawing, they're like, "Just say it." I've learned how to trust that because it's always accurate. And the client oftentimes will resonate with that and will be able to speak on that.
So when you're with a client, you're basically acting as a psychic medium, and then these ETs kind of come to you and you see them like within your mind's eye.
Yeah, and sometimes the language comes through. Sometimes I will see like a form, but truly that form is not anything solid whatsoever. It's more like like a pearlescent sleeve that can take somewhat of a form, but it's very malleable and can dissolve and can change, and it's extremely cool. But the praying mantis, that seemed more of a physical presentation to help me identify that. And I've seen all kinds of different forms and shapes that I was clueless about. And I would start to do some research, and then I would find the match. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, here's what I saw." Because I kind of enjoy not knowing so that when it shows up, I can validate it. "Oh, that makes sense. Okay." And I know I can trust that. And now there's never any questions. I trust everything I get.
Before the ETs started showing up in your sessions, did you have any interest in sci-fi or aliens at all?
No, what I did wonder, I was a big Doors fan when I was younger, and I tried to channel Jim Morrison. And I'm like, "If you're here, move my lamp." And I swear it moved one of those times. But I always was fascinated about the planets. I was always fascinated about space. I was wondering, like, where does space end? Where everything has to have an end. Where's the end to that? And I was always into astrology. And when I was a little girl and I'd go to the drugstore with my grandparents or whatever, they used to have the little colored scrolls at the checkout with the astrology and your lucky numbers. And I would always follow that. In fact, when I was very young, I had a dream where I walked outside and looked up and I saw the planets labeled with popsicle sticks. And the one that I stuck out was Jupiter. And I was born on a Thursday, which is ruled by Jupiter. And I was also born with the sun in my ninth house, which is also ruled by Jupiter. So I super love Jupiter.
When did you start channeling?
That was the most recent thing. I began this whole journey with astrology, which led to tarot and divination, and then psychology, and moving to mediumship, which is the one thing I said I'm not, and everybody said I was. And then once I trusted the mediumship, then the channeling came through. I had wanted desperately to speak light language. I understood everybody had one, and I want to know, I want to explore, I want to experience that. And I paid for classes and nothing would happen, but I would weep. I took all of these different types of classes and it was my turn, and all that happened were tears streaming down, and I couldn't explain it. And I mean, boo hoo, I was literally crying. And I came to finally understand it's because my planet of origin had blown up. And so it hurt too much for me to be able to reconnect with that language. But after I had that realization and broken through that barrier, all kinds of languages come through now. And through I call it my guidance, I've got this ring of guides here, and they're like gatekeepers. So only things that are for my own highest good and the highest good of those that I serve is able to come through, so that I can now fully trust what comes through, knowing that it's not going to be anything that's not nice.
First, you mentioned that you finally trusted mediumship. What was the event that finally convinced you that it's real?
Sharing information that I had no clue about, I was very nervous about delivering such information. And that is why I began with astrology, because astrology and astronomy are a language, and I learned to read the language. And this way I was able to put the trust into something else, because I wasn't willing to go out there and say I'm psychic. I was too terrified of all of the stigma that was attached to that, and how mainstream media projects astrologers and mediums and crystal ball and all that kind of thing. And so I avoided it, knowing that it was actually my truth. And then after, it was very awkward, after my father passed away, I came out of the woo-woo closet and I started to do trade shows and vendor tarot readings. But then I started getting other information coming through, and I'm like, who's Anna? And they're like, oh my God, that was my grandmother. And it took a while for me to feel comfortable delivering that information, because my biggest fear is, what if I'm wrong? And when I've learned to just simply set that aside, I kind of feel like I take a manhole cover off and move it over, and then all of the information can just flow through me. And so I don't stop and decipher or critique or judge any longer. I just say everything that's there until there's nothing left, and that means I can move on.
So how does it work for you? Do you hear it? Do you get a download and just know things? Do you kind of see something in your mind's eye?
All of that. Sometimes I'll smell something, sometimes I'll get a taste. If I'm doing mediumship for somebody, I might feel like I have a fat tongue, or paralysis if the person maybe suffered a stroke. And that also came with a particular level of trust. Like if somebody has suffered heartbreak, I will feel pain in my chest. But now I understand, using discernment, that's not mine. I am holding space for who I'm serving, and that's how spirit is communicating with me, so that I can say the words. Oh, I have this pain in my heart, and but now I can plug it all in, and so I understand exactly what that means. If it's a reading for somebody who's passed, well, maybe they had a heart attack, as an example.
If we get back to channeling, are you saying that you channel light language, or do you actually channel beings and entities that speak through you?
Both, both. And light language was the most recent thing, and I think the most challenging thing. When light language comes up, it almost feels like before you want to hurl, but it's not an uncomfortable feeling. It just feels like this water is raising and it needs to come out. When I'm channeling other beings, the first time it actually happened was during a course that I teach, and I closed my eyes and all of this information came out, and I received the identity of Elohim and seraphim. And the seraphim had been showing up very lightly early in my career, and I would look it up. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But when the channeling came through and everybody on my Zoom call, they were like, and then I finished, I was like, wow, that was so cool.
Are you a conscious channel, or are you in a trance when doing it?
Conscious, conscious. I don't trance. And the reason is, well, I think the reason is because I don't want to scare anybody. So even if I'm going to do an event in front of people, I do like to use humor. And I'll say, don't worry, like this isn't anything scary. I'm not going to suddenly go, it's not like that. And I will invite whatever is available that would like to present itself through me to do so.
Do you feel like you're stepping aside and witnessing it, or are you like actively participating?
No, I'm witnessing it. I can't actively participate, because then I would color it or judge it or critique it or alter it, which is a disservice.
And you're also a past life regressionist as well, right?
That's new too. Yeah.
Do you think that you're really just taking people through death experiences, or are you seeing much of their previous lives?
Oh, both. Both. So I depending on what the client is asking for, what they're looking to heal, because that's the reason I do the past life regression therapy. We have unresolved stuff in this lifetime that doesn't seem from anything that I remember in this lifetime. And so they'll book a session, and in between lifetimes, I've had clients explain to me, who was around you as you transitioned? Are they in your life now? Who are they now? And let's move through that transition. As you were departing your body, what did you witness? Who was there? What did you feel? Tell me what's there. And they would explain stuff that I have been there. I myself, through meditation, have been there before, or in dream state. So I also knew, but what they were describing matched what I got. And it just makes me so excited. It's really beautiful to when you transition. And for so many people, we're taught to fear death, but dying is a beautiful thing. And really, it's a flash in the pan. You've done it over and over. I feel it's like a lava lamp. When it warms up, it's this blob, and it goes up, and then it goes down, and it goes up and down. And that's what the life path is like. Like, you have an imprint from your past life experiences that when you're born this time, whatever you didn't resolve, you're going to get that imprint. And so you're going to have people who fill the shoes of the last time, this time, making it that much more pressury, that much harder, that you have to break through. So sometimes people don't complete what they should have done or completed in another lifetime. And it might be to stand up for themselves. Maybe I give all of my energy away to everybody else. I never stand up for myself. Well, then in this lifetime, I'm going to be born into a narcissistic family, maybe, or I'm going to marry somebody who's narcissistic, who just wants to drain the life out of me. And if I never get the hint and stand up for myself, it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So one day you're going to be realizing, I'm not happy. Why is it? And what can I do about it? And nobody else can save me. I have to do it and take that action. However, most people don't take that action, and they end up causing more self-harm, but still there's no punishment. There's no punishment. So when you do dark things, when you do things that are not good, if you harm other people during your transition, or some people call it a life review, during that transition, you're in the shoes of the other person, of everybody that you harmed, and you feel it like 50 times harder. And that's what karma is. And then sometimes you have to go to like a school. It's not exactly the right word. It's like a training. You're not allowed to reincarnate for a while if you did a lot of damage while you were here with intention. If you intentionally cause harm to somebody, then you're not allowed to reincarnate right away. You go to a different location. And those who come back as those who help people or who guide people through transition, they're very familiar, because we all have these soul groups that we keep incarnating with. And sometimes, like on the deathbed, your souls are reconnecting, and oh, I'm going to be the mom next time. I'm going to be your neighbor. I'm going to be your student. And it's wonderful. It's beautiful. I can witness so many times somebody's spirit guides having that communication with them. And it's kind of like they're packing their lunch. Okay, remember this, remember this. Avoid that person. They're going to be dressed as that this time. Okay, here you go. And they drop you down the hatch. And then out you come, this crying baby, having to start all over again. But eventually, especially now, people are starting to wake up to what those marching orders were. Oh, I see that person in a different light now. Very exciting time right now for what we're going through, because this awakening, it's on a DNA level. And not only are we remembering who we are at a soul level, but we're able to work with our guides stronger. And then if we so choose, we can invite that galactic energy through.
Can you share with us how to connect with our guides or our higher self?
Yes. So I invite everybody joining us today to rest your eyes closed.
For those of you that are driving or operating a heavy machinery or anything that's potentially dangerous, stop the video and come back later and watch this. I'm pretty sure that's obvious, but I just had to make that statement.
All right. So this is a direct connection with your spirit guides. First, you have to set the intention. I wish to call in my spirit guides, or I call in my spirit guides. And now you rest your eyes closed. Everything follows intention. And you bring your awareness from your head. And you're going to take a little elevator or an escalator going down from your head, down through your throat, and down into your heart. And in your heart energy, I'd like you to imagine a giant sphere, an empty ball, and you're in it. And you're going to create something very beautiful and comfortable to either sit in or lie upon, and please and proceed to do so. And you're going to look up and you're going to notice that there's a skylight. And notice, is it daytime or is it nighttime? And if it's nighttime, then it's going to be the moon. And if it's this daytime, it's the sun. And feel the energy of that celestial body coming through that skylight and tickling your skin, dancing upon your skin. I invite my team to please help me to know that you're there. And this is actually happening to all participants with an open heart. And this is what the energy of your guides feel like. Now, you may get, we are here. You may get skin sensitivity, tingles, shivers, chills. You may get pressure in your ears or a high pitch, or you might feel like a humming refrigerator. And then you're allowed to ask questions while you're in this heart space, this beautiful sphere of light that you're in. That's where you ask your questions. So if you have a question, ask it here. And the answer always comes immediately. After several seconds, our brain starts kicking into gear and starts analyzing and tells us this is stupid and this kind of stuff. So it's always immediately soft and subtle. And the most simple thing is that you're here. Please help me to feel your presence. And just breathe into that and take yourself a nice deep breath and release it whenever you're ready, and you can open your eyes.
Thank you for sharing that. Would you channel for us?
Yes, I would so love to. This is going to be a mixed bag. I actually never know ahead of time what's going to show up. We have Elohim over there. That is not who will be presenting today. We are the Galactics. We are ancient Galactics. If you were to see us, we might be brown in color. There are multiple. We are a consciousness. We are from what you would say is to the right of Pluto. We are very wise. We are who appeared to you earlier this afternoon. And the followers of this particular channel are aligned with this vibration, and that is why we choose to come through right now. And we wish to bring forth a particular language, and do not be afraid. And it is something you may not have exactly spoken before. Those who are asking for galactic guidance to wake up their own galactic DNA, this is now going to be an activation if you've not already experienced it, and this is going to be mildly next level. Shinika shitu o yasika na ina Breathe into the energy of your heart. The heart is all knowing, and this is a now thymus activation. And now the third eye with the thymus, and this is how we hear you, imagining your thymus and your third eye connecting, and we connect with you around your radiant crown, surrounding your energy in this now moment, freeing things from your kidneys. You see your kidneys hold fear. There is no more room for fear. There has been a split of the timelines, and you are migrating. Many of your circles, your friends, it looks like they're going down with the ship. They are fine. Do not worry about them. Stay in this pillar of light, this pillar of love. This is a time for you to know who you are, as this galactic alignment is occurring of the one and the many. It's the same as the Sri Yantra. The one is the universe. You are the universal one. Breathe into this conscious knowing you are one with the universe. A drop in the ocean contains all of the contents of the ocean. And what are you mostly made of, our dears? You are made of water. Breathe into this beautiful knowing that you are all. Breathe. And we're now going to light up your hands for you as you're having a kidney clearance, a thymus activation, this high heart universal oneness. Simply breathe. Do not hold your breath and feel our presence and allow calmness to be restored. As we're merging with your nervous system and reprogramming the nervous system to be on this higher timeline, one of conscious choice while aligning with the greater of the whole, the universal oneness. Think of your own individual cells. You are one collective consciousness. That is how we see humanity, and then many planets as well. Many of you have birthed planets. Did you know that? You have been there. You've been there. And some of you, including our channeler, were cast aside out into this frozen asteroid, not even in your orbit. And she now brings forth her own keeper of the flame, bringing forth now the essence that many of you call Saint Germain, the violet flame. Breathe, beautiful, violent, not violent, violet frequencies. Forgiveness replaces fear. All is well in my soul. Know this. You are love and you are love, gentle souls. And allow yourself to have a nice deep breath. Release it whenever you're ready. And I hope that you have enjoyed that.
Thank you, Susie. I noticed that you have a lot of skulls behind you. Do you collect them?
I work with them, so I will grab one. This guy is Frankie Cosmos. He came with that name. This particular skull I got from a woman in Sedona named Carolyn Ford. And she has an ancient skull that she calls Einstein. And they have a lodge where they imprint these other skulls. I kind of think like a copy machine. And they imprint Einstein's consciousness into the skulls. So this is one of those. One of the other ones I received from her, I connected with. And it took me to a location, and I followed where this skull took me, and I saw it began with a Y. It was a big, long name. It felt like it was in Mexico or around there. And I sent Carolyn the message of where this skull took me, and she said, that's where Einstein was found. And so all of these little things just further my truth and understanding. And so working with a crystal skull that is in the human form helps you to get to higher realms of consciousness for the human, for humans, for humanity. Where if you work with a dragon skull, you get to work with dragon energy, or the ET skulls, you get to work with the ET energy. And so they're absolutely delightful and wonderful. This is super lighting up my hand. You can create grids with them. Like they all have a personality. So you get the crystalline structure, so the quality of the particular crystal it's made from, with the shape. And with the shape, you get like shape resonance, like the human skull with the human skull as example. But these are wonderful channelers of wisdom and higher consciousness. I would say they speak to me, but they're not like, hello. It's a presence, it's a feeling, I guess I'd say it's like a telepathic language.
Out of all your crystals back there, which one is your favorite?
This is my favorite piece.
Is that a
So
dragon?
It's a human skull here and a dragon on the top. This is an extremely powerful piece. The carver is known as the world's grand master carver, Leandro de Souza from Brazil. And this sucker will channel just about anything. It has to do with the joining of consciousness, multidimensional beings of the light, and being able to filter it through. And that portal in human consciousness of access has gotten significantly larger, introducing you to higher levels of self-worth without needing external validation. So that's what it looks like when I do. So that was kind of like a little channeling there of God, you know. So that's kind of like how I work. I hold something, stuff comes through. It's not always intentional, but I know to stick with it when it's streaming through like that. Another thing I love about crystals, because I've had this guy for a few years, he actually broke at one of my retreats. He had fallen over, and so I used that Kitsugi method with the gold, and I put it back together. But this is so powerful. It's actually like blowing me out of my train of thought there. Universal love. It's a universal love and wisdom from several portals all over. We see you. You're finally back online. Congratulations. And again, with the separation of the timelines, know where you stand, know who you are, recognize your self-worth. You are creation. You have no beginning and no end. You are infinite. And you are wise, much wiser than your human years. Okay. So when there's nothing left, that means I stop.
Do you ever connect with entities or beings that are bad and you have to like get rid of them?
Yes. Working with clients, I get called on some pretty big cases of all different words that are used that I have to undo or get rid of. Or there have been times that before I go into a session, the first thing I do is I look at the individual's crown chakra, and there I will feel like a black cloud, but it's got consciousness to it. Oftentimes when that happens, it's somebody, it's a soul from a past life, or it's an entity with a contract from a past life that says, you owe me and I'm not letting you go. And so I need to disconnect that and then kind of send it somewhere else so that this human is not affected like that.
You have a beautiful gong next to you. Can you play it for us?
Oh, I would love to. Okay, so let me pick up my mallet, and then I need to change the sound here.
Thank you for sharing that. Can you channel in a way where I ask the channel questions?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You just let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Hello to whoever is being channeled. How did you connect with Susie?
She is one of us, and she has visited us on what she calls our ships. It's merely a frequency of consciousness. She's not physically been aboard the ship. It is true. We implanted her via who she called her dog. It is actually one of her guides. that was sent because she is part of a mission to collect information and report back to us. And because she asked to be able to utilize this to service people, we have granted this because of the darker plot that she was to oversee has now been dismantled and she has been released. And so she is able to take her teachings and to help others to understand how it works and how one is always galactically connected only if they choose.
Is it common for people's guides to be incarnated in their pets so they'll be with them?
We would say it is more of a rare occasion. Often we, and we are several, can appear through other human beings. We can appear. It's almost like what you would call a stand-in, but it is a temporary, we don't possess anybody. We are not there to alarm anybody, but we need to collect information at times, and sometimes it is more challenging than others. And sometimes if there is any kind of discomfort, they might shut it off or become fearful. We connected with her since she was 2 years of age. And she had a nightmare fire, and that is because she has perished in a fire as a child in another lifetime. But it was through this, you might call it a deliverance, that we were able to come in and bring these messages. But there's also times that we occupy a bird, a pet bird. So yes, we can appear through the consciousness of pets, but really we connect telepathically. And that is what she was not aware of until she had somebody on the outside explain this to her. And we allowed that individual to remove what you call implants.
Can you explain to us what happens when a person dies and where do they go?
They become no thing. They see their own physical body and they are received by shining light. They are received by waves of pulsating light. They see the likeness of their loved ones when they may be on their way out, but not fully out of body yet. And this is when nurses wish to medicate them more. And there is nothing worse that one would want to do. We wouldn't want to disconnect that. It is a safe passageway. And as the soul departs the body, they are reunited with the universal oneness. And it is very serene. And it is a coming home. You are not dying. It is not a death. We celebrate you and we sing your name in the light, and we are celebrating. We celebrate with you. It's a very joyous and festive occasion. Did you know that you can eat here, even though you don't actually need a stomach? Everything is very vibrant and tasty, and there's holy music that our channel hears very, very frequently. And there are no words for this. You do not have the words to describe the experience. And she is doing the best that she can. Although she has a wide range of vocabulary, we are displaying, it is an ascension. It is ascension through dimensions of light, waves of light, where they are reunited with the one universal consciousness.
Once we're there, are we forced to come back or do we make a decision to come back?
There is no there. You become all. You're all. It is almost like when the chocolate bar dissolves with Willy Wonka and it becomes everything, and then it can reappear. When it reappears is when you reincarnate again. Some of you will not reincarnate on Earth, and you will reincarnate in other locations. And we are transitioning the human body now to prepare for that, because you will go on different journeys with the separation of your timeline. You will not always be returning to Earth. Your mission here is complete, and you will be doing the same mission for other planets.
Can you share with what's going to be going on with humanity over the next 6 months?
There is a splitting. It appears like a splitting. So it appears that your Earth is tilting on its axis somewhat differently, and the magnetic poles are shifting and receiving higher frequencies. And you're already experiencing that as the Mother Earth is having an upset stomach. You know, when you're upset, or when you have an empty stomach and your stomach grumbles, this is what your Mother Earth is doing. This is what Gaia is doing. Her stomach is grumbling and you are feeling it. And this is the change in the Schumann resonance, as you so call it. There's far more than this going on, but your scientists will finally reveal and explain this to you, as you will be able to communicate with us so much more easily. It'll be divine and wonderful. So with your Earth, there is not only a splitting of timelines, there are multiple timelines that are splitting and falling in upon themselves. And those that are willing to go to the higher timeline will now enjoy plenty of harmony in their cells, in their cellular structure, in their bodies. They are changing. They're changing on a DNA level that we do have a hand in, but only with permission. And so it's almost like if you imagine a friar has a bald top of head, and this is sacred and holy, and that is because it is exposed to the one creator. And it is like this how we see your planet. The sun's heliosphere is thinning, and there are other changes that are happening in what you call the empty space, which it is not empty space. And there are several little orbs that are coming down with intelligence. And you sensitives are feeling this intelligence and you're wondering, why do I know this? Why did this come to me? And it's because you are sensitive to this level of intelligence that is now blanketing your earth. And as this split happens, it goes, you know that the result is always something physical. When it comes down all the way to density, that is physical. And there will be, if you've ever had a big cut and there is a flap of skin, this is happening to your earth, and this is Mother Earth belching, and this is resulting in volcanoes and what you might call horrific catastrophes. But these are natural cycles that must happen. It is nothing that is out of the ordinary. It is not any kind of a climactic change. These are patterns. Your earth goes through patterns, and she is simply going through her own natural rhythms in an ascended status. And that is because you and others like you have tipped the scales and have elevated your consciousness, connecting to the collective. And this has helped us to see you and support you in greater ways that we were unable to before. Your world, as you know it, is going through beautiful elevation in which you are freeing yourself from these prisons, these constructs of prisons that were presented to you by an not only inverted black box, but the inverted black box was on a 45-degree angle. And this further even confused those that gave the inverted presentation in the first place. It was even deeper than that. Your last year was the ending of a galactic contract with the darker beings who have now found, you might say, another sandbox to play in, but it is no longer your planet. And those clutches have been released. And our channel saw this as giant talons sunken into Mother Earth that were released. And this is so the case. And it is now very, very freeing and liberating for those who choose to leave the realms of the prison construct of your intelligent mind. Sometimes your intelligence could get you into danger.
For the Galactics and the ETs that are with us right now, when will we have open contact with our star family here on planet Earth, walking among us?
Several already have this now, and where we are gathered and concentrated, it is easier for us to show up without filtration. There are other tiers of beings, humans and others, that think of when somebody is toying with a laser beam and they try to throw off an airplane. This is happening. When there are certain tier of beings that wish to thwart our communication, they send this radiation out. It's a form of radiation to distort our channelings, to distort our information, or those little orbs full of information that are blanketing your planet. And it is becoming easier and easier. So one must be very determined that they would like to plug into who they are as a human soul, but we invite you to go bigger because you are infinite. Do not limit yourself to your humanness, because that was not your origin. You have selected to occupy a human body, which is not always very comfortable, to help Earth ascend. And in so doing, we reward you and we celebrate you so very much.
If we get back to the shifting that you mentioned earlier about all the planetary changes, should we be doing anything to prepare for this?
Listen to the water. The water holds the truth. The water will be revealing new patches of Earth with light codes in them that your Earth was not eligible to receive prior to this timeline. It is through the heart and the high heart. It is through the heart, the high heart, your third eye, the crown. It is through those upper chakras. It is not possible to dissolve your lower chakras. Do not try that, because you have a physical body. You wouldn't want to dissolve yourself. If you were too much in your higher chakras, you would vaporize. And so to connect with this, It is by universal oneness, and it is through the magic of compassion. You have no idea the enormity of compassion. When you are emanating compassion, we see that is the translucent green and the translucent pink that our channel sees, which is the resembling of that kunzite crystal, and the green, the other half of it is the green, which is, you call it hiddenite. That is the companion crystal. And you may perceive this when you are observing what you call the northern lights. The northern lights. There is magic, there is plasma. You are plasma. And as you increase your awareness of the soul of your infinite, infinity, you connect with you connect with us, and we are able to layer ourselves within you and then activate you in such a way that you are suddenly happier, freer, and more intelligent, believe it or not, in a higher way that you didn't see coming.
If somebody wants to have contact with aliens, can you tell us how to do that?
You simply ask. You simply ask. Now, we do have a screening. We have a screening process. One must be sincere. One must be sincere. Why do you want to have connection with us? Is it because you want to try to pick our lock? Is it because you want to access things that are not for the betterment of all? That will be forbidden. Now, in a former timeline, which you are only ending now, that was not forbidden. And anybody with any intention whatsoever was able to extract information that would cause great harm. That is now unable to be happened, unable to occur. And so all you need to do is simply ask. You go down into your heart. And our channel is very good at this. You go into your heart and you stay there. You live there. You go into your heart and you ask, please come to me. Just like she did with the guides. You bring in, please ask for my guidance to appear. Please help me to feel my guides. You have a galactic DNA. We live in that, and that's hard for you to understand. But that is because you have been us, and we are you. So we are all ocean. One drop contains all of the parts of the ocean and is not yet separate. But if you take a drop and you place it in a vial, it appears to be separate. But through the quantum universe, quantum entanglement, what happens to the ocean will happen to that one drop. And so as each individual turns on the light, you might say, which means to go into your heart and crank it on, we will be there. Now, for some of you, you ask for a big sign, like a slap upside the head. We will never do that because that will startle you and create fear. But we will respond by a semi with a big name on it going by, which is what you've asked, or pressure in your ear, or certain tones. Some of you will begin to tone and you won't know why you're doing it. And it's because you're trying to find your frequency. You're trying to find your radio dial to what your home frequency FM dial. It is a frequency of consciousness. Now, some of you, this is coming through right now, some of you have an abandonment wound. And this abandonment wound is a galactic one like our channel because your planet no longer is in a physical state. It is still in an energetic state. And this is the same as when somebody becomes an amputee or they lose a piece of their body and there is a ghost or an apparition of that body part. Through the quantum entanglement, you are still connected with doesn't physically exist, it still energetically is so. And so to be able to go into your own consciousness, to go into your own heart and simply request that we are there to hold your hand and to guide you, we will gladly accommodate. But the way that we show up is going to be different from one to another individual. And that also depends on how one takes care of their vessel, which now introduces briefly another piece of information is you must take exquisite care of your physical vessel. Yes, treat it as a temple. You must have clean hydration, living water. You are living water. You do not want to ingest dead things. You want to have food as fresh off the vine as you can possibly have it and ignore all processed items. You must take excellent care of your vessel if you wish to play a beautiful tune. If you begin to tone or you start making beats, chirps, and ticks, it is because you are toning to your own galactic native language. One other thing about Lemuria is coming up, and that is because there are several people who may coo or sing or hear these particular sounds that you don't know where they're coming from. That is because there is a resurgence, or you may call it a rebirthing of Lemuria that is getting ready to, you might call it, hatch. And these contains these hidden keys that our channel has spoken of. It's almost like they're hidden behind an island, buried, but it is not there now. And through these catastrophic changes, these things will come up. What was once now submerged, it is a flipping of the nodes and the nulls. And what was now sunken will become surfaced for one to be able to resonate with and investigate on an individual basis. Do not trust what is being reported to you, and do not dismiss this. This is very important for the water of your body. It is being orchestrated beautifully and harmonically. It is helpful to work with tones and sounds and beauty and the sounds of your nature and the sounds of water. And this will help to calm the nervous system and prepare you as we go through these beautiful, beautiful changes.
Thank you for sharing with us today. I don't have any more questions.
You are doing wonderful work. You have wonderful readers, viewers, participants. You're part of a very strong collective that have ties with the spiritual aspect, the spiritual facet of the human experience. And this is good. And we sometimes siphon our light through you, almost like a web, where those who participate in your studies and your channel and your interviews are able to receive these beautiful downloads and light codes through you, and you don't always know it. You're not always aware of it. So we thank you, because you are also a divine channel for us.
Thank you, Suzy.
It's so much fun.
If people want to find out more about what you're up to, what's your website?
It is Suzy-Woo. Now it's with a Z because my full first name is Suzanne. So it's SUZY-WOO.com.
If people want to reach out to you and ask you questions, should they go to your website or your YouTube channel?
Yes, I do have a YouTube channel, Woo Life with Suzy Woo. And all of those contacts, all of the platforms are on my main, it takes a minute for me to come back down here, on my main website. And so all of the socials are on my main website. You can fill out a contact form. For me, email is the best. I usually respond to my emails like between 11 at night and 1 in the morning, because that's just the way my schedule goes. But I love to hear from people. I do read all of my own email and I answer personally. It really means a lot to get the feedback. It just helps me to know others are out there that are similar, who might have a question that I might be able to help with, or who might say, me too.
In the beginning, I mentioned that you are an author. Do you have multiple or just one book?
Well, I do have a children's book called Nikki's Creativity, because usually people that have either a lot of water in their chart, or who are simply creative people, well, maybe it wasn't supported when they were younger. And so I created that book, Nikki's Creativity. And then I also have a chapter in 2 collective books that are by the Wellness Universe, 25 tips for stress relief and 25 tips for happiness.
Before we finish up, can you leave us with a last positive message?
Yes. Find yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and be proud. This is such a beautiful time to understand what hasn't been working and be grateful, because it's leading to your why. Know your why and live in alignment with your values. You matter.
Suzy, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.